with money.
Yes.
And my slogan is invest in your health. Because if you don't invest in your health, you won't have health. And in order to invest in your health, you need money. But it's not loads of money. You know, if you can buy something at the shop for $500, I'd rather first the priority invest in your wellness. So what is wellness banking? Wellness banking is of three modalities. The one being directed alignment technique, which I'm a qualified practitioner, and that is working on the nervous system. So if your nervous system isn't working effectively, it is going to affect you somewhat because it sort of manifests, and hence the backache and the headaches. And for the ladies, the periods is not, you know, they're not doing very well with it, and your knee pain, etc., etc. The other important factor that I want to mention to you is the nervous system surrounds all the major organs in your body. So if your nervous system isn't working 100% effectively, what happens? You need, in order for you to operate with all your systems in front of you, you need it serviced, don't you?
Indeed.
You need your car serviced, don't you?
Of course.
But we don't service our bodies. And I'm not talking about going to a general practitioner and giving you a tablet or putting a plaster on. I'm talking about everyday wellness.
I was actually just about to ask that, because while you were speaking about wellness and putting things into your body and prioritizing yourself, I was actually thinking in my head that most people, when they experience a problem, a headache, that's the most common one. Headaches can stem from all kinds of things. However, people want a quick fix. They want something that can work instantaneously. And that, of course, leads to painkillers. And then once you start with the one painkiller, then it goes on and on and on. Because you build such a tolerance that it becomes so bad that it affects your kidney.
You know, Daanyaal, this is a controversial topic. I can sit here and talk to you for days on this. Really, and I mean, I've studied this. I'm not thumb sucking. The research and the sleepless nights that went into this. We work from the inside out. We don't just put a plaster on. You don't come to me for a quick fix. And I tell all my clients that I don't wave a magic wand. But what I can say is, excuse me, I have long-standing clients that's been with me for 12, 15 years that still come regularly. I can even mention their names. They can go to my website, they can check it out for their monthly maintenance. I have a client, Italian guy, he flew out this morning, but he came to me before he flew out to go to Italy. He'll come back in 2 weeks' time and he'll come straight to me. That is what it does. It's just that it aligns your body. And, you know, you get that people think, what are you doing? They get up and they're totally bewildered because of the natural high that they're getting. Your nervous system is made up of white matter. So it's like jelly floating through your body. We're not working on bone or muscle. So it's extremely interesting, but I don't want to become too technical. You know, that's the one modality.
I don't think I'd understand it if you went technically in. I would have just gotten lost.
You know, that's why it's important for people, they can WhatsApp me or they can go onto the website, which is a bit more information available. That's the one modality. The second one is a Resonator machine. The Resonator was founded in the 1930s. The founder and the writer of the book was taken out for obvious reasons, because it's a natural healing process. And the machine was then the size of, you know, those huge, what do you call it, machines that the guys work on in the garage. And to date, they've obviously modernized and it's come down to, I'd say, the size of your keyboard. Wow. That's how modern it is. And alhamdulillah, I own one. That one, whatever, I don't like ailments, diseases, we can tune that machine from A to Z. And that's including cancer. And I can't mention it on the radio because it's a fact.
I have a question now, because I want to get more clearly how this works, how you deal with clients, so on and so forth.
Okay.
But in the beginning, you mentioned there, when I asked you what do you do,
yes,
you said, how far back must I go? Then you mentioned you have a client that goes 16 years.
Yes.
So now, because you've introduced that, I have to ask, where does it all extend back to? Where did it all get? I'm just curious now, because you've mentioned the age and you've mentioned the length of time. So I'm now curious, and I'm sure the listeners as well, and on Facebook and YouTube, are also a little bit curious about how back this goes.
Okay, when you ask me how back I go, is it with it prior to that.
Okay, let's talk entrepreneurship as a whole.
Okay. Let's go into entrepreneurship very briefly, because I think important for entrepreneurs and people that would become and entrepreneurs is not a fancy word. It's a person or one man's show that can sell something out of their kitchen. And then, of course, you can grow from there if you're willing to. But to me, entrepreneurship, or the one person doing whatever they're doing, selling from the garage or the kitchen, the important thing to do is to broaden your knowledge. Have product knowledge, but you also need to have customer knowledge, a skill. It's a talking skill. It's a communication skill. It's a social skill. It's after sales skill. That all the things that comes with it. And by the way, over the years on all these things, I started off, I was raised in a family of sports enthusiasts, soccer and that, and my children, they were brought up in that as well. They're all doing their own thing. And in the heart, oh yeah, I'm revealing my age, but anyway, in the heart of apartheid, I'm so proud of my age. In the heart of apartheid, I studied with an American company as a gym instructor, and I broke down barriers and I ended up at Wits University. I was the only black person there. I didn't care whether they thought it was black, yellow, or pink. But what I did, I managed to get my certificate in order for me to open up the first black gyms. Yes, it was the first black gyms, and I opened up 3. We managed to train the underprivileged. We didn't go for the big fancy gyms, the underprivileged. And coming out of that, I'm mentioning this because you don't have to have money to do these things. It's the drive, it's the motivation, it's all the skills that you do. And the other most important thing is, it is self-education. You don't think, I haven't got money, I can't do it. I taught myself. And I never had matric because of circumstances in the apartheid times. But what happened is I went past tertiary education because of self-defense, and I got a certificate on top of it.
This is really interesting. I like how you're going about this, because you're essentially talking about the journey of entrepreneurship, bettering oneself, which ties also back into the wellness banking aspect. But that's very important. I think that's a very important factor that you pointed out there, talking about your history, especially in regards to the fact that at the beginning you didn't have matric, you didn't have conventional education.
No, I didn't, because I couldn't, because we couldn't afford it back then, because we weren't allowed to study, remember? No, you won't remember.
I won't remember at all.
But yeah, circumstances also. You were a big family and we had some nasty knocks, but we were forced to go and work. And that didn't stop me. I mean, while I was working, I was studying. I started back then studying. It's all about self-development. No one is going to hand it to you on a platter. You need to get up and do it yourself.
I'm curious now in regards to this journey that you've undertaken and all the things you've mentioned. It sounds like exceptionally stressful scenarios that you've been placed in. And I wanted to know your mindset, more thing. While everything you're saying is exceptionally correct, I believe, the aspects of journey, and I've always come onto the show and I've highlighted how various entrepreneurs, when the main thing about them is that they've always learned they had to better themselves first before they try to do anything else.
Very important.
That's why they're always open to criticism. They always want to improve their product. The passion is there. But also, what happens also, everybody's passionate about something. However, what often hinders an individual going through, and I'm sure you've probably dealt with this kind of mindset issue in your wellness banking with your clients, that issue of an individual lowering themselves in their head, thinking to themselves that, I can't do it. And they have all these wonderful ideas, but they're so afraid to take the first step. And for those that have taken the first step and then something goes wrong, as things go wrong,
and then they walk away.
And then they just walk away.
Yeah,
I want to know your mindset in regards to that.
My mindset was determination. I've gone through some tough times in my life, and I mean extremely tough. But I didn't let it hold me back. Yes, I had to go through the process and allow your body to go through that process, but it shouldn't actually get you down and just sit in a corner. Nobody's going to say, come, I'm going to pick you up. They will be there for about 5-10 minutes, and you're not going to see them. It's tough as what it seems, but you need to motivate yourself. In the where I come from, I had to motivate myself. I didn't have anybody else at the time to motivate me, or I thought I didn't because I was in the darkness, you would say. But that is something that I don't even think about, because I think of the good and the negative and what the self-development that I put myself through, so much so that I could pass that on. I could empower other people. And very quickly, before we finish with that, I was the first black woman to get a businesswoman of the year. In that year, 2000s.
This was when you operated the gyms, was it?
The gyms, and I didn't even touch on to it. I had a civil company.
Oh, wow.
Then I was the first black woman, and I got, and the first, this was mostly awarded to Afrikaners.
Yes.
Good for them, but then I broke the barrier. So it's hard work.
Yes.
You know, and you can pat yourself on the back, but it's not easy, but then again, you can overcome it.
You know, your story kind of emphasizes that. I mean, conventionally, when individuals think in the current times anyway, of education, you're taught to go through a series of processes, like you go through primary school, you go through high school, you go through university, and you work towards a degree. Your degree hopefully gets you somewhere. But now in South Africa, as you know, the unemployment rate is at an all time. We have individuals,
Can I
graduates,
just
they
butt
can't
in
find
there?
Yes.
Can I just butt in with the employment rate,
Yes,
unemployment rate? We just spoke about it earlier. Unemployment rate is not 38 to 40%, because they are adding the statistics says it's that. But if you go into our underprivileged areas, let's mention some places, Gugulethu and Langal mentioned that. They are informal traders, and they're making mega bucks. Okay, they're not paying tax and all that. But what I'm saying is our unemployment rate is not that high. You go into this area, you see the people making money, though, and Mitchell's Plain. It's little gold mines there. They're not taking them into account.
Sector.
So, you know, our unemployment rate is high, but it's not as high. So I just needed to...
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But actually, while I was thinking about your journey and the message that you spreading in regards to improving oneself, which is not only the mindset that you had back then, but also what you have now with your own business, the wellness banking. But I think we're digressing a little bit. We're going back into history.
That's us. We need weeks here.
Yeah,
we need weeks.
We need weeks.
We need to move forward.
Okay, let's start off with what people are probably thinking in regards to how you deal with patients, or in regards to what your business entails with a patient when they first come in. Because you mentioned there are things about the nervous system and how you assist them through natural healing processes, and you try to get to the underlying factor rather than just looking at symptoms and then prescribing a pill, and the pill
No,
get
no,
addicted and all that. So I wanted to know, say an
don't.
individual were to come to you, how would you approach them? What would your practice entail?
Okay, about them approaching me is, alhamdulillah, I must say I don't advertise any longer. By the way, I was here a few years ago on the show, and your sister station as well. I've reached a stage now where it's just completely word of mouth. So I'm blessed in that way. What I do is, when a client in, you assess them, you take down the history, and you need to know what they're going through and what medication they're on and that type of thing. And then once I get that, I will put them on a bed, which almost looks like a massage bed, but it's not, and they're in a pronation position, which is on their stomach. And then the method I use is by using the feet, and that indicates to me, and it's not only the feet, it's the length of your leg, it's the weight of your legs, it's whether you're anti-pronating or it's just everything, whether you what we call fight and flight, you know, you're resisting me, and they're totally oblivious whether they resist because of the state of the body they're in. I can tell them when they had Coke before they came to me. That is how in tune I am with the body. I can tell them when they had too much caffeine. Or whether they're smoking. I can pick it up on certain parts. I can, even with women, I can tell them that they are menstruating. And I'm working on top of their bodies with fully clothed. So that is the beauty of, Allah's given us this beautiful piece of machinery that we neglect. Coming back to the wellness, Daanyaal, if you don't mind.
No problem.
This falls into the ambit of wellness. It's it's not just about what you eat. People think when you eat is expensive. If you eat curry, it's expensive. We're talking about vegetables here.
Yes.
How expensive is vegetables? You know, and you don't have to be fanatical. I go crazy at times. I know. If I go crazy today, I know the next 2 days I need to watch what I do.
Yes.
So obviously your order must be right, your thinking must be right. You can't work on a client and you're thinking of something else. You need to guide them where the eating is concerned. You need to guide them where they stressed out. Yes, we all stress out. No one is stress-free, but there's ways and means of dealing with it. You know, break away and go and walk on the beach or look at the child. Anybody look at the child, you smile. You know what I'm saying? Even an elderly person, they make you smile. And it's a form of fitness. If you can't walk or run around, sit and exercise on a chair, there are no excuses. So that falls into the ambit of wellness. It's overall wellness, by the way.
Yes. No, I got that from if you mentioned it, because it almost feels like you're delving into counseling there in regards to
I am also a qualified counselor, but
yes, I kind of figured that out when you just mentioned all of that things about stress and the body.
That's
and all
the
of that.
third modality that I wanted to mention to you, by the way, is the counseling.
You're also a counselor.
Yeah, so I do quite a lot of students. Our poor students are going through so much with their schooling and that type of thing.
Yeah,
so
psychology sounds like a nightmare to study. I dropped out in my first year, alhamdulillah. All saved me. Anyway, continue.
Psychology?
Yes, I did psychology in my second semester. I dropped out because I didn't realize actually psychology includes the brain. And Daanyaal Matthews does not do biology. Daanyaal Matthews cannot remember the synapses and all that.
Yes.
That is not my life.
Yes. You know the nice thing about this, Daanyaal?
Yes.
Good for you. You know, you're paving your way for your future. And I wish you all the best, inshallah. When I say I'm a qualified counselor, I'm also registered with certain associations. And what we did when they taught us wellness, counseling had to be part of it, because you're not only working with the body, you're working with the mind as well.
Yes, yes.
And you cannot go and spend an hour with the client. You need to know. I just need to give you all the associations. I'm registered with so many.
That's a long list.
Yeah, but you know what? This self-development, this is part of it.
Yes, yes.
The growth in the studies doesn't stop.
Yes.
I mean, it's like when some people is going to a movie or something, I'm studying or I'm doing research because I need to stimulate my brain and I need to be up. You need to refresh yourself all the time. So I'm registered with ASCHP, which is the Association for Supportive Counselors and Holistic Practitioners.
Yes.
Now that why I mentioned it was that encompasses your psychologist and your psychiatrist. If you go to a psychologist or psychiatrist, they're going to focus on what you're telling them. Psychiatrists will prescribe medication. The psychologist will listen. Right, and nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying we encompass all that. And we need to do this, and we need to update our credits annually. So it's not that I started like 3-4 years ago and I can just continue. You need to get your credits every year.
Wow. Continuously.
Gee,
sounds like a
you need to be
battle.
No, you need to be registered, and every time you register, they're going to give you a questionnaire.
Okay, I understand.
You know what I'm saying? And in order, you need to do that. And also counsel for counselors in South Africa, South African Qualifications Authority, and then Directed Alignment Technical Practitioner.
That is a long list.
Yeah, and the Body Health Systems Association of South Africa. So, it's just not sitting there, I can do this and do that. It takes learning and it takes dedication. And you must love what you're doing.
I'm a little bit curious now, since you are a seasoned entrepreneur essentially, because extending way back when.
I'm not that old. You don't have to go way back. I'm not I don't know walking stick.
But I'm more referring to your experience, since you have delved in so many different fields, and also you have experience talking to various individuals of different aspects of life. So you also are you know how the human mind works in some sense in regards to difficulties and so on and so forth. I want to know, in your business and the field that you're now in, what are some of the difficulties that you face in your beginnings of this business? I'm just curious, given your history and your experience.
I think, I've always been into fitness, like from the beginning, like I told you when we started when I was kids. But I always had a passion for for assisting people and helping people. You know, and when I get a client coming there and they don't tell me, but I can say that there's a financial problem, if you know what I'm saying. You may be able to pick up and read that person. I won't even charge them. That's not a difficulty. It's just maybe sometimes it's a bit challenging for me, but then you need to also give of yourself. It's not all about money. Difficulty, I wouldn't say difficult because I don't actually see this work as a problem. If somebody comes to, yes, I had a client a few years ago, obviously I can't mention her name, and she kept on coming back and I kept on telling her, your lower back, your L1 and your L5, there's a problem. And after the 5th or 6th, I said, please go to the doctor. I discovered she had cancer. You know, so that was a bit of a challenge. That one still on my mind because I kept on picking that up while I was working on her.
Wow.
She's passed on since, may I so rest it. But yeah, so those are the challenging things. The others is I work with babies, where I work on the mommy with the babies. And I had a newborn baby, about 3 months old now, about a few months ago. The child was regurgitating constantly. And after the 3rd treatment, it stopped. So that is a nice story. A nice
that's beautiful.
story. So the nervous system, people, the importance of this part of your body, they really don't believe how important it is.
I think that's just how life is these days. People are just very negligent about the body. I mean, in the current day and age, people are acting, or rather how fast reality moves.
Yeah.
Often at times, people don't have time to focus on their own, as you mentioned in the beginning, maintaining their own body.
That's
you
right.
mentioned you maintain a
That's
car,
right.
you maintain your house, you
That's
have to look
right.
after a garden.
Exactly.
So why not look after your body?
It's exactly. And I don't think it's negligence. I think it's lack of education. No, there's a lot of people that's now becoming aware of it, but I don't think they're aware enough of there are alternates. And I must say that I've had doctors from Grootske referring people to me. You know, so, and it's not about me, it's about how they trust my work I'm doing.
Yes.
And how
Alhamdulillah.
effective it is.
No, that's wonderful. I mean, the matter you spoke on there of saving that young child's life, that baby's
Yeah.
basically saving their life,
Yeah.
that is beyond just business, or beyond just money.
Exactly,
That is
exactly.
something completely
Yeah.
different. That must have,
And
wow.
that is such a plus. I mean, and then that's baby. And then I've got my oldest one now, client is now 86.
Yes.
You know, so the spectrum is so broad because everybody's body consists of nervous system.
Yes.
I mean, babies go through that when mommies are pregnant.
Okay. Okay, Quanita, I
Yes.
have to ask you a question now.
Please.
And this is primarily
Don't
because...
ask my age.
No.
That's a joke.
I have to ask a question now. I'm actually running out of time.
Oh,
This
yes.
show is always impacted by Makrim and Shah. Yes, I know you look at watch and you're like shocked. You
Oh,
see,
time goes.
time flies. We said 30 minutes and I'll come look, it's already going fast.
Yeah.
But usually I ask individuals that come onto the show, judging by how long their business has operated, and then I ask them a very simple question, and that is, where do they see their business in the future at that X amount has existed thus far? And your business existed for how long now?
Oh, I think this is now what we're going on for like 15 years.
15 years. So alhamdulillah, where do you see your business in the year 2037?
You know, Daanyaal, I'm going to be honest with
Yes.
you. I think if it was 10 or 15 years ago that you would have asked me that question, I would have answered you differently. I think I've paved the way. I didn't let anything pass me. I dived into everything. Business-wise, alhamdulillah, and health and wellness. That is my passion. So for the next 4 years, I don't want to grow my business any bigger, but if I can empower people, I'm willing to do that. Because I've reached a stage where I'm happy, I'm contented, I'm fit, alhamdulillah. I'm also doing marathons at my age, yes.
Mashallah.
I'm doing the gun run on Sunday. So that's part of my fitness. Yes, I will still be going, but I don't, if I want to see my business grow, maybe by 5 or 10%, alhamdulillah. But when I was in the other industry, in the civil industry, that you don't even want to know what projects I was running. I did projects like Grootske, I did projects like Claremont Taxi Rank. I did Canal Walk. So I've been there. Alhamdulillah, I've been there, I've done it, got all the awards for it. So I want to sort of ease out, but I know that I've tried my best. And in the interim, I've empowered people.
Alhamdulillah.
That is the most important thing, because now they can go out and do their thing.
No, that's powerful. That you're the first person that has categorically come onto the show when I ask them that question. Usually it's the expansion.
Yes.
I'm more interested in regards to how people view their growth.
Yes.
Especially with new entrepreneurs, I want to see realistically, where do they see themselves realistically? Because
Yes.
it's easy to come on and say, I see myself having a mega store at Canal Walk. But realistically, that's not going to happen in about 3 years.
No.
But alhamdulillah, you're the first person to come on and actually give a selfless take in the reality of, if my business grows, alhamdulillah, but I'm more in it to serve the people and give back.
Serving the people. But that's
Alhamdulillah.
always been part of my life, is serving the people. No matter how big a project I had, it was, you never forget where you come from.
Yes.
You never forget where you come
Now,
from.
Quanita, as I said, we are actually running out of time. So I need to ask you, if people out there want to get in touch with you,
Yes.
if they're having a headache that just doesn't want to go away
Yes.
after months and months and months,
Or they
how do
knee
get there?
problems,
Yes,
they back
indeed.
problems,
All the problems.
or their money problems.
Do you solve that? Because Daanyaal Matthews needs that.
Of course I could solve it. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Truly.
Yeah. Do you want me to give my contact number?
Yes, so that they can get in contact with you if they're interested.
Okay, my mobile number, business hours, is 083 688 2953. Can I repeat that? It's 083 688 2953. Otherwise, via email. It's Quanita, all lower caps, Quanita at cybersmart, cybersmart.co.za. Thanks, Daanyaal.
Okay. I put that also on our Facebook and YouTube. So if you're interested and you couldn't quite remember the number, it is there. You could just go onto our Facebook or YouTube platforms and you will see a recording there of this interview. And then you can also see the contact details and the email address to get in touch with Wellness Banking. Quanita, we are running out of time. As I said earlier,
know.
I keep saying that because it's just
crazy,
it's
yeah.
insane. I said that the last time and already 2 minutes has passed. It's going too fast.
Yeah.
I want to
But I'll be back. I'll be back.
No, truly. I'm trying to get all the businesses that I've had on already just to come on back just to see where they've gone. I'm more interested in that, the growth. But shukran for coming on board. Because I've learned a lot. The listeners have learned a lot. But I'm more taken aback by the message that you've spread of the journey, the emphasis that you put on the journey and maintaining oneself, but not maintaining, bettering oneself.
It's all about self-development.
Truly.
All about self-development. No one else going to better your life. You need to do it yourself and do it. You need to be constant. You know, and the most important thing is don't forget where you come from, because that humbles one. You know,
Truly.
no matter which project I did, I'm still humble and I remember I come from, proudly where I come from.
Alhamdulillah.
Daanyaal, thanks for having me. Shukran. It was such a pleasure. And, you know, it's all about now educating the next generation.
No, but that's what I'm supposed to say, shukran. You're supposed to say afwan.
Okay,
I was in the show.
I'm taking over your job.
Taking over the whole show. But shukran. It's always a pleasure to have local business on. It's always a pleasure to have individuals that come on and share their knowledge, share their growth, share their message. That's absolutely wonderful. And I say shukran to you for coming on board. Shukran for contacting us and saying, can I come on the show? I always tell people, contact us. I will get you on the show, because 100% I will. I always look forward to having community business on and their growth. Right. For me, it's more of bettering myself, because I learned something. In this interview, I learned something about bettering oneself, taking care of one's body, the mental health, everything. But I'm digressing. Omer is going to kill me. He's right at the back. He's watching me. So I'm going to have to conclude. Shukran so much for coming on board. Shukran to all of the listeners, the viewers on Facebook and YouTube for tuning in, for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday evening. We're going to have to conclude now. I'm going to say to you that if you want to come on the show, all you have to do is send through your business details to 0829913913. That's our WhatsApp line, or info@vocfm.co.za with the hashtag DailyGrind. I will get in contact with you, or just call 021442 and the receptionist will put you up to me. You can have a chat. But we're going to have to end the show now. I say to you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's the end of the Daily Grind this week. Tune in next week for more.
Live from Cape Town, this is the Voice of the Cape. The voice